Time now to get to movies and money. For that, we have Erik Childress joining us now. He has his eyes on all the action. Hello to you, Erik.
Hi, Angie.
Greyhound is the next big title, not going back on the theatrical schedule, and this time Apple TV is going to be the beneficiary. Here's a sneak peek at Greyhound.
Air escort to Greyhound. You will now be out of range of air cover for the next 5 days. Safe travels to England. How many crossings does this make?
This was my first.
I got some.
Most likely a U-boat.
He's trying to slip under us! Fire!
Isn't this a bit of a shock, Erik, having this big budget premiere by streaming?
Well, it was a shock in the context that it is the first big move in this arena for a new streaming service, but we should also peel back the layers on if this is that big of a surprise. The film Greyhound was initially pulled from its June 12th release about 3 weeks after its star Tom Hanks announced he had contracted COVID-19. Now, this is one of the films that has remained in limbo since the theatrical schedule began to rework itself in light of the pandemic and theater closings. But now Apple TV, which launched in November, is taking a swing at this new model by reportedly closing a deal in the $70 million range for rights to stream this release. Now, to take a step back, that may be more money than the film would have made domestically in its original release slot. A World War II naval adventure opening over Father's Day weekend would have garnered some attention, though my estimates suggested something closer to midway than 1917.
What do you think is the primary motivation to make this sudden move?
Predictions aside, Angie, this is also a film that has been delayed over and over again. It was filmed back in 2018 and was scheduled for a March release in 2019, but then was pushed all the way back to May of this year and ultimately June. Now, even with the star power of a national treasure like Hanks, who also wrote the film, that is not a particularly good sign in terms of quality. However, the budget was reportedly in the $50 million range, which is pretty modest for a film of this type, and seemed very doable in recouping its cost. At those numbers, I certainly don't believe it would have been a big red stain on Sony's books. But this was also the only film Sony had on the schedule for this summer, which is pretty odd. And though no release date has been set for this on Apple, maybe they were looking at some of the family-oriented streaming numbers and figured even at 50% of those rentals, this was the best opportunity to finally put this one out to sea.
There is a long-awaited comic book film that's also been in limbo that's finally getting a release date.
Yes, Angie, though we're not talking about the infamous Snyder cut of Justice League, though rumors of that continue to persist. No, we're referring to Fox's The New Mutants, the long-gestating spin-off from the X-Men universe.
This isn't a hospital, it's a cage. It's important we find out your power so we can help you get better.
Now, this film, which is closer to horror than straight-up superhero adventure, was shot all the way back in 2017. Now, numerous reports suggested grave dissatisfaction with the completed product, so reshoots were ordered in 2018, with the release pushed back to August of 2019. Meanwhile, there were other disappointments and an outright bomb in this universe with X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. Disney then acquires Fox, and they are similarly unimpressed with the film, and there was talk it would go straight to Disney Plus or Hulu. But lo and behold, last week they announced they were going with the theatrical release on August 28, 2020. Now, this is hardly a sign of confidence, as this is a summer date that is typically reserved as the dumping ground for film studios want to get off the books and do not anticipate major revenue from. That seems triple the case given that we are not even opening theaters widely yet, and there are still several weeks of releases that could find themselves still shifting. Its prospects are more of a curiosity factor at this point and would probably garner more attention if it took the Greyhound route. Then again, many of us still remember the Cloverfield paradox and how we all felt after watching that on Netflix after its surprise post-Super Bowl launch in 2018.
We are very much looking forward to getting back into the movie theater at a safer time. Thank you, as always, Erik.
Thank you, Angie.
For more Business First AM, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.